Hey everyone, welcome again to my channel. Today I'm taking you with me again to Elftopia, the magical world of Elftopia. I love it so much. But before we do that, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome to Quillscene. My name is Megan. If you like things that have to do with reading, with writing, with my adventures as a writer, with Wicca, with magical stuff, with geeky stuff, with all that kind of thing, you're in the right place. Make sure to click on the magical subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell, because on that way you'll always get a notification whenever I upload a new video. But yeah, the magical realm of Elftopia, the highlight of our summer. Let's start! If you follow this channel for a while now, you know that Elftopia is no stranger to us. It's been a few years now that we're doing Elftopia with my writer collective, so my group of authors, for which the core group is our fantasy authors, which happened by coincidence because all genres are welcome with the writer collective. But yeah. It's also good that our core group is fantasy authors, because that means that we, as a fantasy author myself, of course, we can do like specific fantasy events like Elftopia. So Elftopia is always the second weekend of August. And it's an event that we always do with the full gang, being the Writers Collective. Because it's, next to Facts, I think it's our like number 2 event when it comes to cost. So it's it isn't cheap, sadly. But yeah, when we do it with the Writer Collective, it's doable because we can split the costs. So who was the gang? I went with my books. My mom went with our magical treasures, stuff, being display potions and bookish goodies, geeky goodies, magical goodies, blah. So she had a part of the booth. Mathias Maho came with his books. Petra Doom came. Jelmer Panman, who is also known as Helden op Papier or Heroes on Paper. He writes his own D&D one-shot adventure manuals set in his own thought-up world of Dungeons and Dragons. And also Dimitri Balcaen was part of our group. Now, Elftopia is one of those events. It's always Saturday and Sunday, but we usually go already on Friday to set our tents and our tables up, because it takes quite some time. As you will see in the footage, there was quite some, again, the normal chaos with cars and trucks blocking the way, because Elftopia is organized on castle grounds, and of course you have like one main way that like circles around the whole castle. But of course, when your booth is around the edge of the grass, also it was communicated that you can go with your car or truck on the grass. So all cars had to like park at the side of the road. But then of course you had like cars that had to drive onto the train, but also cars that had to ride off the train. And you had like this, there was only space for one car. So it was, again, setup chaos complete. And for us it was even more chaos, because we had asked for a booth of 6 on 3 meters, which are 2 tents, with one side also open. So not only the front, but also the side one open, because that would be where my mom usually stands with the things from Magical Treasures. Now, as you will see, I normally have a picture. I will upload it here. The thing, however, was when we came to set up our booths, actually, so our neighbors were Avoltea. Again, we know them. They make beautiful theater replicas, but also do costumes and attributes like guns and crowns and beautiful jewelry also. They were our neighbors. But when we would set up our tents, because on the grass it was like with like the spray paint like added like from where your boot started until where it went. So this, if we put our tent pole in the corner that was marked, which was right next to Avoltea's tent, so there wasn't like any room left to maneuver. And we would put our second tent, so then that tent would go to here. And we would put our second tent from this point till the next point. The last tent pole would fall right next to the start of a fixed bench. So it's a bench that couldn't be removed. But we had paid and needed an open side. So basically, only the front side was available, and we didn't have the side where my mom's booth would come. So I, of course, went to the organization with my complaints, and they were like, oh no, something went wrong with the planning, but they couldn't like rearrange the like our booths. They couldn't like plant it somewhere else, because as the ground plan was drawn out, it was also vetted by the officials like the mayor's office, but also the fire department, for safety. So they couldn't like just rearrange the booths. So yeah, we were stuck with that spot, but we were allowed to like move a bit backwards, so that we basically, had to go deeper. But that people would then be able to walk past the bench and then also like still visit the side of our tent. It wasn't ideal. We noticed that on Saturday that a lot of people like walked right past us, because we were like the only tent deeper, the only booth deeper than the rest. So the rest was all, the other booths on that lane were all like on the same road and on the same line, and ours was like 2 meters backwards. We tried to on Sunday we tried to fix that by placing like the round high tables with our books like in front of our booth, so that it would draw people in, which worked a bit. But yeah, that was our setup drama. It always set up drama with Elftopia one way or another. Next to that, Elftopia was actually the start of Chaos Week, as I called it. What is Chaos Week? Chaos Week was basically 10 days in which I had 6 actual active event days. So it started with Friday setup Elftopia, then 2 days, Saturday, Sunday Elftopia event, and then that was on, now I have to take a peek. So setup was 9th of August on Friday. The event itself was Sunday and Saturday 10th and 11th of August. After that I had 3 days a bit to, get a breather. And on the 15th of August it was Lights in Aarschot. And then it was 1 day rest, and then the weekend that followed were again 2 events. So it was on 10 days I had 6 active event days, with 5 days actual event and then 1 setup day being Elftopia. But again, start of Chaos Week, as I said. as I just mentioned, Elftopia itself was on the 10th and the 11th of August. Each day was from 10 a.m. till 8 a.m. The thing, however, is Elftopia is always, and I hope it stays that way, because I prefer sun over rain. But it was again a very hot edition of Elftopia. We had the luck, thanks to our spot, and also being that we had to go a bit deeper, that we our booth was like right underneath the tree line that like started. So you have like, here is the main road, and our booth was like next to the main road, and here was then like it started the little forest of the castle terrain. So we had a lot of coverage of the trees, which made it doable. And also behind our tents was like a nice patch of grass in the shade constantly. We also had brought some picnic blankets. So if it got a bit too hot in the tent, we could like take a break there. Or put our chairs like in the shade behind our tents to take a breather. Being that it was like, again, high temperatures, I want to do a little shout out to all the beautiful cosplayers, be it the ones that were in full fursona fursuits, or in half fursona fursuits, to even the princesses in their beautiful princess gowns with like hoop skirts and stuff like that. I admire you that you have been walking around like the entire day in those cosplays, because I was wearing the entire weekend a very light Greek dress, Greek inspired dress, but I was sweating bullets. So shout out to the cosplayers who were brave enough to keep their cosplay on in those high temperatures. It always amazes me that you guys can do that, that you guys want to do that also. So kudos to you. And of course the highlight of every Elftopia is Dracarys. Dracarys is a leguana, I don't know how you say it in leguana lizard type thing. You will see him in the footage. He always comes to say hi every single day. So we meet Dracarys like a few times every day when it comes to Elftopia. It hasn't been Elftopia if Dracarys isn't there. So he's our cuddle buddy when that happens, when it comes to Elftopia. But yeah, I think I babbled enough. Let's take a peek at the footage I filmed. that, we survived another edition of Elftopia. Again, start of Chaos Week, which has already then been, at that point, 3 days out of, 3 days out of 10 in which we have 6 active event days. But yeah, we didn't melt away, luckily. We also made a very fun group pic, as you guys can see here. This was behind our tents, by the way, in the shade, because we were like, no way, we're going in the sun. We still need to, like, at the end of, on Sunday, we were so happy that, like, the sun was hiding behind the castle, so that we could, like, you know, break up our tents and everything in the shade. So yeah, it was really hot, both on Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, again, I prefer sun over rain, and with our Belgian summers, you can't complain too much about too much sun. Of course, we also did some shopping. The first thing we bought was actually something that I had to go buy on Saturday before the gates were even open for public. One of our, I think we can call them friends by now, creative friends that we've met over the years and keep meeting over the years, because we see them back a lot at events like Elftopia and Facts and stuff like that, is Chris from Mini Geeks. He draws beautiful fantasy art. My mom loves his drawings too, and one of the things he loves to draw is dragons, and my mom is a big dragon fan. I am too, but my mom is even bigger dragon fan. And Chris had posted on his social media in the days before Elftopia that he was working on some new artwork, and he had some prints, but he also had like the actual big art prints that he had drawn painted himself, and that were from 2 flower dragons, which he did a few years back. He did an entire series of flower dragons, so dragons that would be born out of flowers. And of course the theme, the color scheme theme was blue, and my mom, her favorite color is blue. So when I showed my mom the picture of the work he was, you know, the actual painting he was doing, she was like, I need that one. You need to get me that one at Elftopia. So before the gates were open, I went to Chris to buy the framed bigger artwork from his flower dragons. So again, you have like the A4 art prints, which come on a cardstock glued that you have to frame yourself. Those are prints, so those are like replicas printed from the original artwork. But like the bigger framed ones are actually ones that he hand painted himself and makes replicas by painting them by hand himself. And he also usually does like the, in Dutch it's called passepartout. It's like the cut out frame that goes in front of your piece. He, your artwork. He usually also like draws or paints decorations on that cut out too. Little disclaimer, he always frames them in white frames, but since our hallway consists out of artworks in framed in black frames, we like redid the frame. But so this was our first buy of the day. Mom was very happy with that. It is hanging in our hallway as we speak. That's why I took a picture, because otherwise I had to pick it up from the wall. And then came the moment on Saturday when my mom did her walk around, and she came back to our booth and she was like, Megan, have you seen the cute statues of the dragons that someone there sells? And she pointed like in the way you know, for where the boot was. And how she explained it was like this big, and it were like kind of like tree trunks on which like bright colored, but they were bright color painted, of course, wooden dragons were resting. And I was like, oh no, but I will see them when I go walk around myself. And like half an hour later, I was going for a walk around and film, you know, the footage that you just saw. And I indeed saw the people with those, with the dragon totems, as she called them, that my mom had seen. But I also walked like past our booth towards the entrance because there were also some booths. And that's when I saw that was a booth that sold like a lot of little statues of dragons, of fairies, of unicorns, you know, the mythical stuff. But in their booth, they had like this really big, it's almost as tall as I am, and I'm like 1.61 meters or something. It was like a big statue, again of a tree trunk, but with like a Chinese long dragon, like coiling around it, and then its head on top. So I go back to our booth and I'm like, Mom, which of the dragon statues did you mean? The bright color ones there, or the big one, you know, there? And she was like, there's a big one. I haven't seen a big one. So I told my colleagues that my mom and I had to go see something at the booth. So I took her with me to that booth. And yeah, the moment she saw the statue, her eyes started twinkling, and I knew, oh God, no. It's coming home with us. But yeah, she asked the price. The price was surprisingly okay, because we had thought like it was going to be 500 euros something. It was eventually 250, I'm not mistaken. And it was actually a statue that the man who sold it, his dad had made in the 50s. And it was a statue that had always been present at his house. But since he was moving, if I'm not mistaken, to a smaller house, he had to downsize. So his wife had said, you know, take it with you to Elftopia and see if you sell it, and otherwise we'll find a place for it. So, yeah, thing however is, when it comes to Elftopia, our car usually is like packed to the brim. But of course, like, not on Saturday evening, but on Sunday evening when we, you know, have to pack everything up and go back home. So my point was, Mom, it's not going to fit in our car, on which my mom replied, it will today, because it was Saturday evening. So yeah, we got the statue. I'll show some pictures here. So as you can see, it's quite big. So as I say, it's almost as tall as I am, but it's a really cool statue. And again, that's now also standing in our hallway. As you just like, if you walk through our front door, you like walk right on the Chinese lawn, which is amazing. And then the last thing we bought was at our own booth, because Dimitri Balcaen had released a new short story bundle, which is this one, and it's called in Dutch Lang Geleden, or in English that would be a long time ago. Like, it's actually so it's a story bundle which reimagines, this is a beautiful sprayed edges too. It reimagines blah, again struggling with my words, 5 classic fairy tale princess stories. So you have now I have to see, Desert Rose is based on the sun, moon and Talia story, but also has a bit of a like Sleeping Beauty vibe. That one is set in like ancient Egypt, in which the princess turns into a mummy. You also have the story of the Little Mermaid, which is in Dimitri's universe the big ice mermaid. So that's set in like the ice times. Then you have Venice, Old Venice, which is a story. Well, it's set in Old Venice, but it's Cinderella's reimagined story. And there she doesn't have a glass slipper, but a mask made of glass. Then you also have the Western story, which is called The Good, the Belle, and the Ugly, which is again a reimagined Beauty and the Beast story. And then you also have, to finish it off, Blanche Noire, which is Snow White story, but based in like the, if I'm not mistaken, also 50s. Where Snow White is basically an movie actress, but from the black and white movies back in the day. And as I said, beautiful end papers, beautiful sprayed edges, and every story, now I have to see, every story also has like its own artwork. This is from The Little Mermaid. Where is the other one? There. Now I have to scroll through the stories. This is the Sleeping Beauty one. We also have, personally my favorite, if I'm not mistaken, the next one. This is the Cinderella with the mask of glass art. This is Western Belle. And then we also have, here we go, Snow White as a black and white movie actress. So yeah, it's a story bundle, fairy tale, princess fairy tale, but his own twist to it. And yeah, it was this new publication, and usually I always buy, whenever my friends have new publications, I buy their books. They buy my books whenever I have a new publication. So we support each other. And with that, Elftopia came to an end. And with that also the first part of Chaos Week. Part 1. Because there will be 4 parts. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a little thumbs up or a comment down below. Your feedback helps my channel grow, but it also motivates me, of course, to keep making videos like this. And I guess I see you guys then soon again, hopefully, for another bookish, magical, probably on the go video. Bye!